This is Tbilisi, Georgia's capital, where a vibrant, politically charged club scene has emerged from the country's long struggle with Russian influence. The focus is now on a pivotal election viewed by many as a turning point, one path leading towards Europe and greater cultural and social freedoms, the other towards Russia and repression. Georgian Dream, the ruling party since 2012 with suspected ties to Moscow, has secured yet another victory. But what has led the country to this point, and what does it mean for its club culture moving forward? Georgia's history is complex. Located at the intersection of Europe and Asia, it's long been the meeting point of different ethnic groups, religions, and cultures. Over centuries, it's been shaped by rivalry between its neighbours, before eventually being annexed by Russia in the 19th century. Georgia gained its independence in 1918, but it only lasted 3 years, until it was invaded by the Red Army and became a part of the Soviet Union. The end of the Cold War led to the formation of the modern Georgian state as we know it today. But tensions with Russia continued, culminating in the 2008 five-day war, a defining moment in the country's history.
It has increased our sense of threat or perception within the society, but it has also increased the idea that if Georgia wants to survive as an independent nation, it needs to be closer with the Western allies. And that's when we saw that the majority of the population since then has been supporting very massively the pro-European, pro-NATO foreign policies.
In the years between the end of the Cold War and the dramatic events of 2008, the forward-thinking, post-Soviet generation started to lay the foundations for a new alternative culture.
Georgian electronic music dates back to the 90s, where it was a time when there was the start of queer movement, women's rights movement, the green movement. That's the time when the real obstacles came, actually, because the existing culture, the establishment realized that there was something shaking behind their ground.
In 2012, the new Georgian Dream party was elected, promising to tackle corruption and inequality and setting the country firmly on a path towards membership of the European Union. While several democratic reforms were welcome, the party and its billionaire founder, Bidzina Ivanishvili, who made his fortune in Russia, are accused of maintaining a conservative agenda widely unpopular with the new generation.
Attractive side to the Georgian Dream ideology is the emphasis on conservative values, on the preservation of the traditional Georgian values.
Against this background, queer activists came under attack in the capital Tbilisi during a pride event on the 17th of May 2013.
This attack was organized with the aim to silence us and to send a very strong signal that you either follow our rules or you will be disappearing from our public space. Just 1 year after these attacks, Bassiani was founded. What was different in case of Bassiani was that the club came with a political statement. Liberty, solidarity, equality, and inclusivity at its core. That's how this big union started to create on the dance floor of Bassiani and on the dance floor of the Georgian clubs generally.
The club scene has given a platform to artists promoting an inclusive and liberal message, but many think the government is trying to silence them.
To me, it's very much important to say something as a position of women artists. If your work, it's about the gender, about the feminism, they are coming to control your work and they are censoring, like you cannot talk about this. So they are cutting and changing your work. They just really want to push that conservative religion.
Earlier this year, the party passed the Russian-style Transparency of Foreign Agents law, forcing non-government groups and media who receive funding from foreign donors to register as organizations bearing the interest of a foreign power. Under this controversial bill, authorities can request access to any private or sensitive information and impose fines for non-compliance. The government claims it's to protect against foreign influence. Critics say it threatens civil liberties.
After passing this Russian law, I have this possibility that I will get fines. In this case, like the organization itself will go the liquidation direction.
Protests against the law lasted months and reached unprecedented numbers of over 100,000 on several occasions. According to Human Rights Watch, these marches were increasingly met with excessive force by Georgian security forces. In response, the EU suspended Georgia's accession to the bloc and froze $32 million in financial aid for the country's defense ministry, saying the law isn't democratic. It now also voices serious concerns over a new set of bills.
The Georgian Dream party last month adopted the anti-LGBT law package, which enters into force next month.
The legislation will outlaw public gatherings promoting same-sex marriage, as well as so-called LGBT propaganda in media and education. And now, amid widespread accusations of vote rigging, ballot box stuffing and intimidation, Georgian Dream hold on to their power.
Now that the Georgian Dream won the elections and is in power for the next 4 years, unless we will see a complete reversal of the current policies that we have been watching the past 2 years, it is very hard to imagine that Georgia will be able to proceed on its European path.
The impact of this vote might not be felt immediately, but it announces challenging years ahead for Georgia's club scene and cultural landscape as a whole.
We're left with two choices. The first is to fight, and the another is to leave the country.
Lots of my friends are posting on social media that they just have to leave and flee the country.
The very existence of a liberal, forward-thinking and politically active community could be at risk. But for those who stay, the fight is far from over.